Hi, I'm Wayne Jenner with MisterOlathe.com and Keller Williams Realty. Today is November 10th, 2010, and welcome to This Month in Real Estate. This is a new feature on our Facebook site. Come and check it out each month, but we want to kind of keep you in tune with what's going on in the real estate market, how it affects you as a consumer, talk about some of the common news stories that are out there. I always have people asking me, well, what's the real estate market like? And I almost have to reply with a question of, well, why do you want to know? Because there's a lot of doom and gloom stories out there about real estate, but never have we been in a market where everyone loses. There is also a lot of different circumstances depending on which side of the table you're sitting on. Now, it is a great time to buy a home. As a matter of fact, I'll highlight briefly, we have a new publication, 7 reasons why now is a great time to buy. If you'd like a free copy of this, just go to our Facebook site, paste a message on there, or send me an email, give me a call, whatever. We'll send it to you, we can email it to you, and we will touch on a couple of the things that are in that here today. But I wanted to touch on a couple of news stories that are out there that people have been talking about a lot and asking me questions about. One of them, obviously, is foreclosures. We hear about that a lot. And there was a lot of news recently about the banks shutting down foreclosures because of allegations of fraud and document problems and things of that nature. Let me kind of get past the media sensationalism of the story and kind of tell you really how things have played out. There were some problems. There's no doubt about that. But we found out that this was not a conspiracy by the bank to foreclose on a lot of people that didn't deserve it. It was just the bureaucracy was a mess. There were some signature problems here and there. But now that the dust has settled, we found that the cases of people that were foreclosed upon that maybe shouldn't have been was very isolated. A very small number of people that are in that situation. Most of the problems were just clerical, technical problems. The major banks did shut down their foreclosures for a short time, but that has pretty much ended, and most people are back on track and continuing with the foreclosure process. If a home is nearing foreclosure and they had a signature problem in it, this probably is not going to prevent their foreclosure. It's still going to move forward. There have been talks of class action lawsuits. You'll probably see that kind of settle. We don't anticipate there being any large-scale lawsuits on this because most of the problems were clerical. Just because those problems existed doesn't mean that people who were behind on their loans had not been in the foreclosure process. So that will probably continue to move forward. Which brings into play something that we've kind of been anticipating that really just maybe got moved back a month or two, and that is a real influx of foreclosed homes on the market, which we're really expecting to see over the next 3 to 4 months. And we're going to talk about that as one of our reasons why it's a good time to buy, is because there is a lot of inventory on the market. Okay, interest rates are at an all-time low. We're going to talk a little bit of detail about that. But the affordability of homes is very important as well. There are reports on the national and local level that the markets are undervalued. Okay, homes are at a bargain right now, which is one of the 7 reasons why people need to step forward and buy a home. If you don't own a home right now, you should be buying now. That is the way the timing is perfect for that type of scenario. Or if you fall into the category where you're looking to move up to a larger home, then now is the time to buy. People in that situation, you come to the realization that sure, the value of your current home probably is not what it was in the last 12 to 24 months. But it's even more exaggerated on the home that you're going to purchase. The higher the purchase price in the house, the more percentage loss we're seeing. So it's a great time to get an undervalued home at a higher price. So if you fall into those 2 categories, or the 3rd category, which is an investor, then it's a good time to get in. With the influx of foreclosure market properties coming on the market, beginning a portfolio of rental properties on foreclosure homes to buy undervalued homes is a good time to do that right now. As an investor, we'll talk about that with a little bit later as far as how that works and maybe the type of cash you need to get into that type of thing and how the financing works. But if you fall into those categories, the answer to the question of how the real estate market is, it's great. So you really want to look into that. I want to shift gears a little bit and let's talk about the financing. That's always a real concern. I've got a guest with us today. I want to introduce Jennifer Bell. Jennifer is with First Capital Mortgage, and we've done a lot of business together. I trust her opinion. And we want to learn a little about what's going out there in the mortgage business. Tell me, for example, where are rates at right now?
Rates are phenomenal, Wayne. They are currently at 55-year lows. So
Wow.
Now is the time to buy for sure. 30-year fixed is going to average about 4.25. 15-year loan would be about 3.75, just to give you some examples.
Okay, and today's November 10th, so kind of keep in mind interest rates do change on a daily basis. So, you know, if you're looking at this video in December, there may be a slight change one way or another. We never know how that's going to work, so just to kind of be fair on Jennifer's part. But the point is, the 55-year lows, we talk about that with also the large supply of homes. That's a couple of the reasons why now is a great time to purchase a home. Now, the mortgage business has gone through a lot of changes over the last few years, and we've heard a lot on the news. How has that affected the consumer as far as the loan application and processing that goes through, you know, when you're purchasing a home or refinance? You do refinances as well, do you?
I absolutely do refinance.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that.
So I've been doing this for 14 years now, and when I first started, you could get a loan with a pay stub and a driver's license. It's obviously a lot different now. The paperwork is very extensive, and they are very, very careful so that we don't get back into the mess that we are in now, and checking into every aspect of people's lives. So we're talking about the last 2 years of tax returns, 30 days of pay stubs, 60 days of bank statements, driver's license, social security card, we have to prove citizenship, or green card, obviously, and probably 50 pages of paper to sign. It is a little exhausting, and some people feel frustrated or even violated, but they really just want to make sure that people can afford these homes that they're buying.
Yeah, because it really is the government that's put these regulations
It's the
in
government.
place.
It's not
right?
us.
Okay, yeah.
Trust me, we don't want 200 pages of paper.
Yeah, we're just making your job more difficult,
Yes,
right?
very much so.
Okay. Now, let's say somebody is in the process, they're thinking about purchasing a home or possibly refinancing, and maybe you're perfectly happy in your home. Refinance may be a great opportunity now with rates they are. What's the first step? How do they go about doing that?
First step would be to call me. We do an on the phone or email if people are preferring an email contact. Application takes about 5 to 10 minutes. It's very, very brief, and we're going to take a look at their credit. Because the first thing that you want to determine is if you qualify credit-wise. If there are any discrepancies on your report or there's any credit clearing that we need to do, the sooner you check into it, the better. That way you can work on it and be ready to purchase a home soon.
Okay, so let me stop you there. So if somebody's thinking that, you know, they may not looking at buying a home till like spring or summer of 2011, you're saying they probably should still start now?
Absolutely, especially if they know they've had some problems in the past. A lot of people who have been through divorce, some credit issues, people who've had prior bankruptcies, anything like that, even medical collections, they should call me right away. So if there's something that I can clear on my end, we can start working on that. We actually can do credit rescoring, meaning if there are things that have been paid that aren't showing correctly on credit, we can adjust that and work on their score. The better the score, the better the rate that you're going to get.
Okay, and Jennifer, we'll make sure that your contact information is on our MisterOlathe.com Facebook page so people can find that easily, whether they want to call or email you. So, from my point of view, I would also indicate that this is always a good idea to get this work done before you actually actively start shopping for a home. These are a lot of questions that are going to affect maybe the type of house that you're purchasing, the price range, etc. So I'm in full agreement. Let's get the process started early. What about closing costs? How does that work? You know, what kind of costs come into play there? Is there, I don't know if you can ballpark, you know, how that kind of thing works?
Sure. It's obviously going to depend on the size of the property that you're buying. Sometimes it is tiered. However, you're going to have title charges, which are usually chosen by the agents, what title company we use. Those run probably around $600. You have, if you're buying in Kansas, you have the state of Kansas tax, which is 0.0026% based on your loan amount. Missouri does not have that tax if you're buying in Missouri. We have typically an appraisal fee, which is going to run usually about $400, and then there's a bank underwriting fee, and that's going to depend on what bank we run you through. Usually you can figure $700 to $800 is what that's going to cost. A lot of times on purchase loans, the buyers are going to ask the sellers to pay the cost, so usually they're just responsible for their down payment, and the costs are going to come from the seller.
What are the minimum down payments that are available right now?
So if you're doing an FHA loan, which most of our first-time home buyers do, you have to have 3.5%.
Okay.
It can be a gift from family, so it does not have to be your own funds, which is nice. If you're doing a conventional loan, you need 5% minimum.
Okay.
However, with a conventional loan, the more money you put down, the lower your mortgage insurance is going to be, so the lower your payment is going to be.
Okay, great. So, and there's some, is there a limit on the FHA price limit?
Yes, 417.
Okay. Oh, so it's pretty high.
It is in certain areas. You have to qualify.
Okay. All right. That's great. That works out really well. She had mentioned something about seller paying closing costs, and that's something you can work out with me when it comes time to purchase and you're making an offer. You can, basically what you're doing is you're rolling in some of your closing costs into the purchase price, and instead of maybe trying to aggressively get the price down, you're getting your costs paid to minimize the money that you're taking out of your pocket. So that's kind of what we're talking about, and those things can be worked out through the process. Now let's talk about investors. If you're looking to invest, obviously 3.5% I know isn't going to work. What kind of guidelines are we working with for investors?
Typically, minimum now is 15%. We do have some programs that are 10, but they're very, very hard to qualify for, and there's a limit on the number of properties they can already own. So if you have a serious investor who owns a bunch of properties that are financed already, they might not qualify for those programs.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, in getting into investing, I think it is a very smart move if you're in a position to do that. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit more cash because you also want reserves, whether they're lender-required reserves or for the property as well. But investing in real estate is a great long-term plan to help with your investment portfolio. And I've actually, we have a book that we use called The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. You get a hold of me, I'll give you a free copy of the book if you want to get into that and move your life in that direction. Well, thanks for joining us on This Month in Real Estate. Go to MisterOlathe.com on our Facebook page for additional information, and we'll be back again next month. Make it a great day.